Go. Um, so yeah, good afternoon. Welcome everybody. My name is Paul Straw. I'm gonna look for you, Brandy, just to give a thumbs up. You see my screen, the triangle trails for everyone.
Looks good.
Fantastic. All right. So I'm Paul Straw. I'm part of the Sustainable Travel Services team at Go Triangle and part of the planning committee for today's webinar. So yeah, thanks to everyone for joining us today. It sounds like we have a diverse audience out there, so really appreciate that. Some sixth graders, so that's fantastic and exciting to see. So really excited. Today's topic is Triangle Trails for Everyone, and we're very fortunate to have our guest speaker today. More on that to come. But if you're new here, the Mission Impossible series, it's a quick 60-minute discussion with experts on topics that we ask you and that we know that you want to know more about. We've had wonderful discussions on cybersecurity, ergonomics, returning to the work site, mental health. And so all of this information is posted on gotriangle.org/mi. So be sure to visit that, bookmark it, save it. It's a good place to go. I'm going to make sure I share that link in chat. Let's do that right now. Everyone, there you go. In case you don't have it bookmarked, that's the bookmark. I'd like to give a special thank you to the regional chambers and business member organizations that help spread the word amongst their membership for today. Your assistance has helped to make this group remarkably diverse and a true representation of our community. So thank you for your efforts. And some little housekeeping. If you're not familiar with Zoom, I know many of us have used probably more Zoom calls and been on more Zoom meetings than we'd like to admit to, but as a reminder, you will start off muted in today's session. You can choose to click the chat window if you'd like to post questions. We encourage that. There will be a question and answer opportunity a little bit later, so you can toggle with your settings. So there's a quick display of those. And we're going to kick things off by introducing Brandy Beeger. Brandy Beeger is Orange County's TDM coordinator. Through the Orange County Commuter Options Program, Brandy promotes the environmental, physical, economic, and even emotional benefits of not driving alone, helping connect those living and working in Hillsborough to mobility resources that can improve their lives. So Brandy Beeger is going to be today's moderator, and I'm going to hand it over to you, Brandy.
Great. Thanks, Paul. It is great to be here today. As Paul mentioned, my program is based in Hillsborough, but I am a part of a team of transportation management professionals that represent municipalities and organizations from across the Triangle. We all work together to promote Go Triangle employer services. And our goal with that is to reduce the number of single occupancy vehicles that are on our roadways. That just means that we want fewer people to drive alone, so that will help improve our area's traffic congestion, our air quality, and the overall quality of life. To encourage people to get out of their drive alone commutes, we work with employers and property managers to establish commuter programming and promote carpools, van pools, biking, walking, transit, and telework. And to make these commute options more feasible, Go Triangle and its partners provide support services that include ride matching for carpools through Share the Ride and See, the Go Perks incentive program, personalized commute trip plans, and the emergency ride home program. And I'd like to add that all of these consulting and support services that we offer are grant funded, and they're free to employers, both public and private. So no matter your company or industry, if you're trying to support your current workforce while also trying to attract and retain talent to your company, our transportation management partners are always available to help. Another way that we provide support is by creating programs like these and inviting experts to share their insights with us. Our desire to help and to connect people and places informs everything we do, and that's where these Mission Impossible sessions came from. Today's topic, Triangle Trails for Everyone, came about because the past year has seen record numbers of people walking and biking. Plus, we are just a few days away from May 1st and the beginning of National Bike Month. Since our ultimate goal is to get people out of their cars, we thought that this was the perfect time to connect our TDM efforts to this topic and encourage everyone to get outside for a walk or a bike ride and explore the wonderful trail systems that are available throughout the Triangle. To tell us more, I'm pleased to introduce Wake County Commissioner Sig Hutchinson. Sig Hutchinson is known in Wake County and throughout the Triangle for his longtime efforts to preserve open space and expand the Greenway system and make communities healthy and livable. He has served on the Wake County Board of Commissioners since 2014. He has successfully led 7 bond referendums totaling more than $400 million in Wake County and the city of Raleigh for open space preservation, parks, greenways, transportation, and affordable housing. He has held leadership roles in numerous regional and state boards and associations, including the Triangle Land Conservancy, Advocates for Health and Action, and North Carolina Prevention Partners. He is currently serving in leadership positions with the Upper Neuse River Basin Association, the Capital Area Metropolitan Planning Organization, Live Well Wake, National Association of Counties, and Go Triangle. Among his many awards and recognitions, he's been honored as Wake County's Volunteer of the Year, the Triangle Business Journal's Green Advocate of the Year, and has also received the Raleigh Chamber of Commerce A.E. Finley Distinguished Service Award and the City of Raleigh's Fred Fletcher Award. He is the president of SIG Hutchinson Communications, an alum of Texas Tech University and the University of South Carolina, where he received his master's in education. SIG currently lives near a Greenway in Raleigh with his wife, Nancy. They have 1 son and 3 grandchildren. And finally, we are so happy to have him talk with us today. Thanks, SIG. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right.
Great. All right. Let's see if we can share the screen. Host. Okay. Host. Disabled participant screen sharing. See if we can do this.
Oops, we'll get you sorted out here.
Okay.
It's like mission control, like we are
Mission control.
getting it done.
Kim, I might need your help to make that happen.
You should.
There we are.
There we go.
We're broadcasting here. Okay. All right, let's see if this works. Okay.
All right. There we go. Perfect.
Broadcasting. All right. Well, welcome everyone. And Brandy, thank you. Paul, thank you. I'm Commissioner SIG Hutchinson, and I've had the good fortune of living in Raleigh and Wake County for 34 years, born in West Texas. Lubbock, if anybody's ever been there, it's dry as black, there's no trees. And for the last like 25 years of that, I've been an advocate of the trails and the Greenway system throughout the Triangle. And today we're going to be talking about that. But not only are we going to be talking about the existing trails on the ground, but when I was talking to Kim and Brandy and Paul, what I wanted to do is really just talk more about the plans that we have coming up, because there's some amazing things that are happening. And from that standpoint, I want to share some of those ideas with you. Now, as we get into this, please feel free to use the chat. So I'd like to make this as conversational as possible. And then at the end, there's going to be plenty of time for questions through the chat or in person, so we can do that as well. So many people want to know how I got so interested in trails and biking and that type of thing. And so it deserves to be said, in West Texas, I'm not good at anything. I'm not athletic. I have no hand-eye coordination. I never could play sports. About the only thing I could do was really ride a bike. So that's what I did. My family were into bikes, and when I was in high school, I was a popular guy, but I just, I couldn't do anything. In fact, I got a picture of my high school annual with some of my friends that I just might pop up here. Let's see if I can get, oh, there they are. Now, there I am, right there. You can see me with my friends. So if, there's not much to do other than ride a bike. So that's ultimately what I did. So as I brought that talent to Wake County and my ability to help get more trails done. And as Brandy has said, COVID has made the trails in the Greenway system even that much more popular. I think we found out how truly significant these trails and greenways are and what they mean to us. And just some of the things that we typically like to think about is we always like to lead with economic development as attracting the type of people who want to enjoy these types of infrastructure. I talk to people every week who have come here because of the trails or stay here because of the trails and greenway system. So clearly it's a job creator. It's attracting the type of folks that we want. But in addition to that, we have a transportation corridor, and you'll be able to see some of that. We want to do that even more. So we want to be able to provide people an option, which is particularly germane to our conversation today about getting people out of their cars. I like to say that, if you can take a greenway to work, you're basically taking the worst part of your day, your daily commute, and turning it into the best part of your day, riding on a bike on an absolutely amazing Greenway. So in addition to that, we can talk about recreation, and I like to think about diversity of recreational experiences. So every kind of imaginable recreational experience, from whitewater canoeing to rock climbing to mountain biking to frisbee golf. I worked very hard to create that diversity in our community, all connected by an amazing greenway system. And then just quality of life. We all know how great it is to live here. North Carolina is one of the most beautiful places in the entire country, if not the entire world. You've got the beach, you've got the mountains, you've got amazing diversity of temperate zones, as Tom Earnhardt of Exploring North Carolina would tell us. What North Carolina is one of the most biodiverse on the entire planet. So you'll see that with the hardwoods and the pine trees all meeting here. You'll have hemlocks, you'll have hemlocks from Maine, palmetto trees from Florida, all meet here in North Carolina. So that provides an amazing quality of life, but we want to be able to experience that beyond just the windshield of our car. We want to be able to get out and enjoy it, which is what basically you're seeing today. In addition to that, protecting greenways, protecting open space, it protects the environment. And we cannot forget the health and wellness components of what we're doing to try to create, which I've been working on as a commissioner, to try to create those types of healthy types of environment. All right, just a little bit of background information here. This is just a little review that you might have clearly be aware of. This is the Raleigh Greenway system. It's 127 miles. We have about 250 in all of Wake County. There's a great story behind this Greenway system of 127 miles. Many people will ask, how did we get that much Greenway since it's so hard to get it done? Well, some of you on the call may know a guy named Bill Flournoy. He's still around, but back during the 70s, when he was a graduate student, he did a master's thesis on greenways. And about that time, they were deciding that it wasn't such a good idea to build in floodplains because it floods. Think Crabtree Valley Mall. So they decided that they were going to take all of the floodplain and not allow building in that. So when a developer came to the city with a plan, that they had to give the floodplain as an easement to the city. Well, Flournoy had a thesis at that point, which basically was the idea that if you're going to get the floodplain and an easement, get a greenway easement as part of that floodplain easement. And so in 1976, when Tom Bradshaw was mayor, Tom, my dear friend, still here, still doing great work here, put 276 miles of greenway on the planning map. So when the developer came in, the city got the easement for the greenways when the development was being developed. So by the time the houses or the development got there, the greenway easement was already in place. That's really the reason we've been able to get this amazing greenway system, because, and we can talk about this during the question and answer, as you know, greenways are a lot like sidewalks. It's extremely difficult to get them in once people are there. You've got to get them in early, but we already owned it. So people could complain, and I like to tell them, you're really for it, you just don't know it yet. Just allow the greenway to go in, and sure enough, you know, people would put a fence along the greenway to give them all that protection. And then about 6 months later, they put a gate in the fence so they could access the greenway, as they began to understand the true benefit that our greenway system has to offer. And as you can see, I mean, it's amazing. Just a couple of real key points here that I really like in terms of a greenway ride. You've got the Falls Lake Dam, which is up here. I actually live here on the greenway, as Brandy said, but this is a great place to ride. Anderson Point Park, where Crabtree Creek comes in, is also in a wonderful park to start a ride. That can run you down to Clayton. There's a brewery in Clayton that's open that you can find out about. The Art Museum is also a great place to start a ride, and you can go along Reedy Creek Road into Umstead State Park, or you can go downtown, which is a great place to hang out. And this is what's known as the Art to the Heart Greenway, or then you've got Dix Park here. And then this House Creek, you can go, you know, from the Art Museum, you can go across the bridge and then take a left down House Creek and run into Crabtree Valley Mall, this area right here. which is also a great place to hang out at a destination. Or you can start at Crabtree Valley Mall, run up to Shelley Lake. I've heard people who run up to Shelley Lake and back, and then you've got a little McDonald's there. You've got kids, so everybody's totally happy. And then if you run back this way, there's this little section that's showing it complete. It's actually not complete. I've been working over 20 years to get that one done, and we got it done. So in about 18 months, this connection will be done here into Umstead State Park. So that will be a great connection. Also, Umstead is absolutely fabulous place to ride. Here's one connection from the Art Museum that you can come in this way, or behind Lake Crabtree Valley Mall, Lake Crabtree County Park, there is a parking lot back here on Old Reedy Creek Road that can allow you to access the Greenway or the bridle trails here. One of my favorite rides is to start here at the parking lot and then run into Umstead, and then it doesn't show it very well, but you can come down and you can ride back up here. And there is a trail that comes back over here that connects back down and then come back up. And that's about a 15-mile ride, and it's absolutely stunningly beautiful. All right, so if I can go back, let me just show you what I have done. So I'm about to show you this corridor right here. So it comes up here. Okay, it comes up this way, and then it comes down here over to Cary. Now let me come to this and show you what that is. So here is that corridor here that comes, and then this is where it stops, but then it runs through Cary, continues on through Cary, over to the American Tobacco Trail, and then up into Durham. This is what's known as the East Coast Greenway, which is a 3,000 mile greenway from Maine to Miami. This happens to be the longest completed off-road section of the entire East Coast Greenway. It's about 70 miles. And it's complete, and we're very, very excited. We love our friends at the East Coast Greenway. Their national office is actually in Durham, and so there's amazing things to talk to them about in terms of the Greenway. The last section was right here, and that was like a $7 million tunnel underneath the railroad, and it's beautiful. But you sure wouldn't expect it to be a $7 million tunnel. But yeah, that was the last piece to make it totally happen. And then, of course, we've got the American Tobacco Trail, which is a little bit different greenway of what we're typically used to. Whereas we typically think of a greenway being along a string corridor, this is what we call a rails to trails conversion project. So this was the old American Tobacco Railroad. It's 26 miles. It runs from southern Wake County all the way into Durham. It actually runs through 3 counties. Wake County to the south, Chatham County in the center, Durham to the north. They all have different surfaces, which is really kind of cool. Ours is granite cinders. In Chatham, it's a dual type trail surface. So you have running on one side and then horses on the other, or biking on the other. And then you get up into the Durham section, and it is actually paved. So you can actually access this at several points on the Wake County side. You just kind of Google it, you can find it. Or you can go up to the American Tobacco Project and catch it there, and then ride down, and then it'd be great to hang out at the American Tobacco Project for a beer or whatever you want. And here's just a great shot of rolling into the American Tobacco Project. So this really kind of talks more about a broader connectivity of the systems that we have in the Triangle. You've got the Neuse River Greenway here, which is the backbone. You've got the American Tobacco Trail here. And then there are plans. Durham has purchased the rest of this rail line. So there's plans to expand that up into Durham. And as you can see, it runs through Cary, Umstead, and then along the southern part of Raleigh and beyond. So as I was mentioning, this is the East Coast Greenway that I was mentioning, and we're very, very fortunate, as I said, to have the longest completed section of the East Coast Greenway right here. But in addition to that, you also have the Mounts to Sea Trail that runs from Manteo all the way out to Jockey's Ridge, and a lot of this is complete, but it also runs through the Triangle, and it actually, if I could go back one, okay. So the Mounts to Sea Trail, which you can see here, runs up this way, but it runs south right here. And the East Coast Greenway runs through here and then down. So they actually meet in this section the Greenway. So, you know, our ability to have this is absolutely amazing, but we're not stopping there. As a commissioner, in about 2016, I asked staff to put together a Greenway master plan update, of which they did. This is looking at some of the additional connections that we want to add to our amazing and growing Greenway system. And so we did you passed voters, you passed a $120 million parks, open space and Greenway bond in 2018. Some of that money is being allocated to more greenways. And so we're partnering with our municipal partners to actually deploy some of that money. But I've got a real plan that you're going to see the very first renderings of a plan that we have coming up later in the show. So don't go anywhere. We've got a lot more great stuff happening here. All right, so let's see what else we've got. In addition to this, of what's going on here in the Triangle area, we've also, North Carolina is amazing in terms of its trails. And so we're really branding North Carolina as the great trail state. So all of that is coming to play. And actually we're going to the General Assembly now to see if we can find some additional money to build out our trail system so that we around the country can be known as that great trail state. All right, so let's talk about some of the things that you don't know about that we're really, really excited about. So clearly in Wake County, we have an amazing Greenway system, trail system of 250 miles. But we have wanted to build out a regional system. So myself and my good friend Chuck Flink, who has built trail systems all over the world, including the Razorback Greenway in Bentonville, Arkansas, with a family, a small family called the Walton family, who have got a little bit of money, and they built this $40 million, 26-mile Razorback Greenway along 6 cities, with Bentonville on the north side and Fayetteville, where the University of Arkansas is, on the southern side, and then 4 other cities in the middle. And then they're building out this amazing, amazing trail system, literally some of the best trails in the country, if not the world. Tom Walton, one of the Walton sons, is very into mountain biking, and the Walton Family Foundation now is spending about $1 million a month to put more trails on the ground. So if you really want some of the most amazing trail literally on the planet, check out Bentonville, Arkansas. Get down there for just some amazing biking. Now, so what we've been doing over the last 2 years with a grant from the A.J. Fletcher Foundation is going to all 14 of these counties to enroll them with a resolution at the county commission level to be part of our Triangle Trails initiative. And we have been successful at that. This last February, we got the 14th county, which was Moore County. So now all 14 counties make up our Triangle Trails initiative. 2 things that we're doing very quickly with them. One is that we want a trail and greenway plan in all 14 counties. About half of them do it now. By the end of the year, we hope to have all 14 counties with an updated plan, greenway plan. The second thing is we're initiating a new program over the next year called the Triangle Trailblazers program, where you'll have an app on your phone, and from there you can dial in the favorite trail in each one of the 14 counties. And not only will have the trail, but it's got some fun places, like maybe a place to get ice cream, or a nice little restaurant, or an antique shop. So we're going to plan a day for you or your significant other, or your parents or the kids, to be able to go to one of the 14 counties. And we're going to have a particular spot where you can take a selfie, upload it to the app, and then if you can say visit 6 of our counties, you become a Triangle Trailblazer bronze, and or silver at 8 counties, something like that. And then we're going to have prizes and t-shirts, and let you stop by something like Great Outdoor Provisions to pick up your t-shirt and maybe get a 20% discount. Working on that, but this is really pretty amazing. Now, we're not the first folks to do this. Oh, and then here is a potential network. So you can see all of the trails here in Wake County, but out here you can begin to see what type of network we could create throughout our triangle. trails initiative in the 14 counties. And this is just one of a regional greenway system. There's the Piedmont Legacy Trail, which is just to our west. And then beyond that, what really kind of got this started in Mecklenburg County is the Carolina Thread Trail. This is the oldest, and in one day, it was Duke Power, I believe, and Wells Fargo. There might be another one in there. Oh, no, it was Hugh McCall and the Bank of America. They raised $25 million in one morning to help fund the Carolina Thread Trail. We have not been that fortunate, even though I love it, but we've got a bigger trail system, so we got a lot more trail, and so we've just got to organize ours up. All right, let's see what else we've got. Some other things that we've been working on is, one of the things that I've been working on here is, you might have known this area known as 286. This is Lake Crabtree County Park. You know that's some really great trail over there. And then you can run around the lake to the Black Creek Greenway, go over the bridge to nowhere. And then this is Old Reedy Creek Road. Well, this has been a place for illegal bike riding now for about 10 years, but they have about 17 miles of trail in there. So what I've been doing is working with the RDU authority to try to ultimately make that legal. And I can say we're close, we're not there yet, but the airport has been receptive to the idea of building that trail system out and then using it as part of the Lake Crabtree County Park system. When we roll this out, you've heard it here first, I'm going to be rolling out what I call the Wake Trails Initiative. And at that point, what we're going to declare is I want to build or identify 80 miles of soft surface trails in Wake County over the next 18 months. A lot of it's there, but it just hasn't been identified. So we'll use the new organization, Triangle Trails Initiative, to help us identify that 80 miles of soft surface trail. For you mountain bikers who are on the call, you clearly know we don't have enough mountain bike trail here. And some studies have actually identified from DC all the way over to Atlanta, we have a huge population of mountain biking, which also adds to our economic development, but there's just not enough trail. So through my work, I want to basically try to secure this area 286, as well as to try to start to build out more trail system throughout the Triangle area. Very excited about that. In addition to that, here is the rendering that I mentioned. No one has quite seen yet, and this is my big initiative for the next 4 years. This is, you might have heard this referred to, is the Triangle Bikeway. So the idea here is that this is the Art Museum Bridge that we've been talking about so much and was in the original picture. So we have now been working with Iona Thomas and the McAdams Company to try to identify a bike trail, bike superhighway, primarily for transportation, that would run around I-40, not in the right of way, but along the right of way into RTP. The plan also provides for it to go to Durham and then ultimately into Chapel Hill. Our section that I would be particularly interested in would be, though, to get it to RTP down 40 to the Art Museum Bridge. But friends, there's more. There's more. All right. So it's like, there's more. All right. So because this trail system is already there, this is the Arc to the Heart around Meredith and through NC State along Rocky Branch, that then runs into the Dix Park project here, which we're very interested in. But this is old trail. It needs to be upgraded. In addition to that, this Rocky Branch trail actually comes back down to downtown south, the proposed downtown south, and then connects into the Walnut Creek corridor, which goes over to the Neuse River. All of this, if you've been over on that part of the Greenway, it was the first Greenway, and it's really needs some love and tender care. So we want to turn this into a transportation corridor using our MPO or CAMPO to upgrade this. We've got to identify where the trail system would be in here. It might be a couple of trails, it might be just one, we don't know. We've got to study that, but we're working on that right now. And then once it gets up here, we want to build this out to RTP. This is about a 20-mile corridor, but this would be amazing. And my goal as a commissioner is to get this done in 4 years. That as just to honor Charles Meeker, Mayor Meeker, who built the Neuse River Greenway, which was 32 miles of trail, hundreds and hundreds of landowners along this corridor, but built this corridor in about 4 years. He said he was going to get it done in 4 years, and everyone thought, well, that's Charles again. But sure enough, when Charles says something, he gets it done. So this will be this connection point. If we can get this done along with the, and then through here, you go back over here to the American Tobacco Trail, and you can kind of know what that's all about. So this could be that amazing connection point through some hugely urban areas and really provide just the final, diamond of how all of this ultimately fits together. So this was a ride that we were on with as part of the Triangle Trails Initiative. This is Willie Stewart. He's the Stewart, or the company Stewart, and also the chair of the Wake Med board, but he had a 65th birthday. And so Chuck and I tried to stay up with these folks, and we were not very successful, but we had a great day. And we did like the 30 miles of the East Coast Greenway, and then they went and did another 30 miles for 60 days or 60 miles. I think Willie wanted to do 65 for his birthday, and he did it. So, all right. Well, how much time did we do there? I think that's pretty close to, it's 25 minutes. So there is your show. I'm going to try to undo my slides here. In the slides, I'm going to pop up the chat. And so, all right, so we can take chats, we can turn people live. Brandy, why don't I just turn it over to you as the moderator, and we'll open it up for any questions that anybody has regarding anything that you'd like, either through the chat or you could just unmute folks.
All right, well, this is usually the, as we move into the question and answer portion of today's webinar, we just like to highlight that this session isn't essentially a political conversation, and that our host and the presenters are not here to address policy decisions per se, but we respectfully ask that participants refrain from questions specific to politics, and as our intent is to engage in a conversation that's informative and provides valuable insight to enable each of us to be more knowledgeable about the trails through the Triangle. That said, there are several questions about the rock quarry impact, if you mind speaking to that.
No, not at all. And, this is one of these areas that comes up, and we faced it a lot, and I'm glad it came up. So let's just address it right now. We, as Wake County Commissioners, are on the record as saying that we asked the RDU Authority to not build a quarry, but the RDU Authority has a fiduciary responsibility to the airport, and they are in control of the land. So that has been declared by them and has been upheld by the courts. So ultimately, they are the decision makers regarding that land, and they need an airport. And so the decision about what's going to happen with that quarry ultimately resides with the RDU Authority. I have no control over that. Some people would say, oh, yes, you do, but I don't. But I do have control over 286, and I've been working very, very hard to work with areas that I control, and am very happy to try to build out 286. I think there's other opportunities for partnerships, possibly with Umstead State Park. And once again, we have to remember that whenever all of us, including myself in my earlier years, were riding on this land, which is beautiful land, this is trespassing, and you're not supposed to be there. So people who are on 286 right now, you're trespassing. So I'm trying to do what I can do as an elected leader to make that area legal, and to work with the RDU Authority and other partners to create as much trail system within my power and authority that I can, and work with other leaders that can help me make that happen. So there you go.
All right, let's see. Another question we had from the beginning of the chat was that, someone, Leah Rutter, works close to Crabtree Mall, close to Costco, and there's a bridge that's been closed for many, many months. Are you aware of that? And is there anything that can be done to get it reopened?
Oh, yes. And I get this a lot. And, you know, you don't have to go very far on our Greenway system to see a lot of the Greenway that's closed. And someone there's one part over by Raleigh Road that people have framed as Sig's Folly, which is, you know, yeah, I see Paul's smiling if you've been out there. And it has been closed for years, 3 or 4 years. And it was just poorly designed in the first place. And then it blew out because Lake Crabtree Crabtree Creek floods, and then they were trying to redesign it, and then it blew out again. But more than anything, we don't have enough money for our trail system and greenway system. So Patrick Buffkin is proposing a penny for parks in this year's budget, which would generate about $4 or $5 million a year for maintenance, which we desperately need. As you know, whenever they run, which we don't know if they're going to run this year or not, but they're thinking about something like a $200 million bond for parks, but that's more capital costs. We need maintenance costs. So the real solution there would be a penny or a 2 penny for parks, because we really do need, you know, reoccurring money. So hopefully we can get another $4 or $5 million. They could even possibly bond some of that or borrow some money on that to get it done. But you're absolutely right. There is a lot of greenway system that is in disrepair that needs to be repaired. So if you want to do anything, then just encourage your elected leaders to pass that penny for parks, and we can start to begin to deal with it, because we're going to expand and we need maintenance money to continue to make that happen. Okay.
Great. Awesome. Let's see, going back into the chat, got some questions. A lot of talk about the Bentonville, Arkansas trails, and I'm like, I got to get down there. That sounds awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. The one question was that around here, we seem to think that greenways need to be paved. Obviously, parts of the American Tobacco Trail are not. Why can't we have Bentonville, Arkansas style rustic trails knitted together by green space and unpaved features along the greenways with trail snacks along the way? That sounds amazing.
I mean, it is amazing, and that's the plan. Now, Bentonville, Arkansas, if you've got the Walton Family Foundation money and you're spending $1 million a month on trails, you can bring the best trail builders in the world. And I mean, their trail system is a work of art. In fact, they've got the crystal, somebody could drop it in the chat, the museum down there, the Crystal something or other museum, which is stunning in Bentonville, Arkansas. But Bentonville is an incredibly cool place. They've completely redone the downtown. The downtown is just totally hip, from, you know, completely restored by the Waltons. They've got restaurants, and they've got like very artistic hotels. And I mean, you can't find better trail in the country. And then talk about flow trail. I mean, it is just stunningly beautiful. But here it's just money, you know, and as somebody such as myself, who's willing to get out there and advocate for it. And, you know, a lot of the trails out there just hasn't been identified. So one of the things that I'm wanting to do with my Wake Trails initiative is to be able to identify that soft surface trail. And then, of course, my vision all along has been to take all of this diversity of recreational experience, being at mountain bike trails or Frisbee golf or Whitewater Park or whatever, and then connect it to the Greenway. And because, you know, you could fly into RDU and stay at a boutique hotel in the area. And, you know, basically, if it was, you know, if you had something on Aviation Boulevards, I mean, never have to get in your car. You could ride hundreds and hundreds of miles on all different types of user experience and trail surfaces, and get on a plane and never have touched an automobile. So that's my ultimate vision. But it just takes time. It takes patience. It takes leadership. It takes political will, which I would encourage you to support elected leaders who believe in this type of work. And it takes money, of all of which I'm trying to do.
Awesome.
Crystal Bridge, there it is. Crystal Bridges. Thank you, Robin. Crystal Bridges Art Museum, which is, the Waltons have put a lot of money in it. They've got some snappy art over there, I'm telling you.
Great. So let's see. Just going through the chat, seeing other questions that we can pick up. Let's see, you've got one person that wants to hear more about an east-west connector to get the American Tobacco Trail connected to downtown Apex and beyond. And they add the White Oak Greenway to connect the ATT to the heart of Cary is great, but they would enjoy a similar connection into the town of Apex.
Oh, we would love it. Absolutely love it. And, you know, Apex, Holly Springs, Fuquay, we need help. And, you know, we have had this fund for greenways, and I know Mayor Dick Sears of Holly Springs is looking for a greenway connection into Apex to connect Holly Springs to Apex. We were unable to fund it because one of our qualifiers is that it is shovel ready. And it just wasn't quite shovel ready. Now, the interesting thing is developers are now seeing the value of greenways. And so they're putting greenways in their development. But now towns and cities and even the county has to come in and make those connections. So that's very, very important. And we ask that you continue to advocate with your elected leaders and mayors of those towns, because, you know, as I tell all of these municipalities, you don't have to build out your system. You just have to connect to the existing grid that's there. You connect, and Nightdale is a perfect example. You know, for those of you who live in Nightdale and Nightdale Station, which is amazing. But along the Neuse River Greenway, you've got Mingo Creek. Now, Mingo Creek and at our NPO, Campo, we've got it funded. And I was actually checking on that last week, and apparently it's underway to connect Mingo Creek into Nightdale Station. But once you're in the Nightdale Station and Nightdale then connects into the Neuse River Greenway, then you're in the grid. So at that point, you know, you can pretty much go anywhere that you want. So anyway, Fuquay, Nightdale, Fuquay, Holly Springs, Apex, we need to connect you guys up. So do all you can to help make that happen. Oh, and why don't we just do this, Brandy? Why don't people in the chat, why don't you just put your favorite Greenway ride? Because that's always a lot of fun to, one of my good friends called me yesterday, and people are getting bikes, you know, you just can't get a bike in a bike shop anymore since COVID because they think it's so popular. But now people are asking me, well, what's your favorite ride? So why don't we just put in the chat what everyone's favorite ride is, and we can kind of start to get a sense. And Brandy, you just might read some of those out as we're going through these questions.
Let's see. Neuse River Greenway.
There you go. That's where I live. And it's stunning. So I got to tell you a story. I just got, you may notice that I don't wear my glasses anymore. And of course I don't have any hair either, which I had when I did that picture with the bridge. But I just got cataract surgery. So if someone ever recommends cataract surgery, just definitely go ahead and do it, because everything's brilliant. And so I was out on the Neuse River Greenway the last couple of days walking with my wife, and it's stunning. I mean, I did not know it was as beautiful as it was, but it's probably one of the most beautiful places that I've ever been. You know, it's as good a Greenway as, I've been all over the world riding Greenways, and it is as good a Greenway as I've seen anywhere in the world. Right here, Wake County.
Nice. Well, and congratulations on your new view. You've got a new leaf on seeing everything in a new light, and what a beautiful time of year to do that in. Let's see.
So we've got the American Tobacco Trail from Durham to Southwood. Now that's great. I might tell a story here. So that bridge that you saw, the Art Museum Bridge, that's not really called the Reedy Creek Bridge, but we refer to it as the Art Museum Bridge. So I was the one who advocated for that. And we just wanted, first we're going to do a tunnel underneath 440. And that, people don't like tunnels. You have to go over. So then we found this place where the elevation worked, and we started talking about a bridge. Well, DOT bought into this idea of a bridge, but they were talking about a typical DOT utilitarian bridge, $1 million bridge kind of thing. Larry Wheeler, who was the director of the Art Museum at that time, said, no blank way are we going to be putting a $1 million utilitarian DOT bridge in my art museum. We'll design it. And so that $1 million bridge became $2 million, $2 million became $3 million. We needed another $800,000 to get it to the cost of $3.8 million. I think Lindo Tippett was the DOT secretary. His wife was on the board of the art museum, and amazingly, $800,000 showed up. And there you go. You had that amazing bridge. Well, Durham saw that bridge, and they said, "No way, that bridge at South Point. No way are we going to get a utilitarian bridge when Larry Wheeler got a $3.8 million bridge." So that bridge, which I think is absolutely stunningly beautiful and is kind of a minimalist design, that was a $7.6 million bridge. And it took us about another, I don't know, 8 or 9 years to ultimately get that one done. But that one is another absolutely beautiful bridge. And now we're working on another bridge, which will span, go along Blue Ridge Road and cross over Wade Avenue. And then that could possibly be part of our Triangle Bikeway, which will take us through, Raleigh. So there's lots of plans and a lot of great stories around those bridges.
Got a lot of people sharing their favorite trails, which is beautiful. Let's see. I did notice one question from earlier in the chat, and it was just from William Yoder, who wanted to know how you balance new project initiatives with existing maintenance costs.
That's a great point. And the problem is the maintenance cost. And as I said, we don't have enough money for maintenance. Raleigh they have not had enough. It's a problem that you have to maintain these greenways, and they just haven't been thinking a lot about maintenance. All they've been thinking about is capital projects, which has got us into our problem today. You have to have reoccurring money for maintenance. And so that's why we're looking for a penny for parks. So we're looking for a reoccurring fund of $4 to $5 million to help upgrade that. And it's still going to take a couple of years unless you can borrow the money and then pay it back over time, which is what I would advocate for because money is so cheap right now. But it's a great question. You have to maintain your system, and you have to come up with some funds to make that happen. So.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Oh, it said, seriously, how long will the trails at 286 last? It's only a lease. Airport wants millions for the lease. Wakestone says, okay, so for the lease, we are talking with them about a 40-year lease, along with hopefully a 40-year lease with Lake Crabtree County Park. And the point's well taken. Trails don't last forever, particularly soft surface trails. You have to go back in and redesign those. And, once again, we appreciate trails, but that land is trespassing. So those trails were built on land that folks were not authorized to be on that land. So what I hope to do is to make it legal and to go in there and upfit those trails so that we can really turn them into a more sustainable trail system, something similar to what you'd find in Bentonville, Arkansas, something we would be really proud of.
I think we might have lost Brandy. Hopefully she can join us here shortly. I think on the funner side of the trails, which trail would you recommend that's family friendly ride, especially if you have children?
Yeah, great. And Paul, that's a great question. If your kids are McDonald's eaters, more than one person have told me about the McDonald's over by Crabtree Valley Mall. And you can, depending on how old your kids are, you can start at the mall and run up to Shelley Lake and back down, or you can run over to the end of that greenway right now and back to McDonald's. And that's a great little ride. The Neuse River, you can't go wrong. And a great place to access that, two areas, as I mentioned, the dam area, and there's a parking lot up there. You have to know where you're going. You can't just go up New Falls of Neuse because it doesn't go by there anymore. So you have to look and go take a left down to the dam to old Falls of Neuse Road. But then, you can find it. And thanks, Paul. I'm glad you said that. But that's a great place. And but you can always find everything on this little app. Those of you who don't know it, called Green Space. If you can see that, you can download it on your app store. green space, and it's a great app that will not only tell you where you are, but where the nearest greenway is. So in fact, let me just pull this up because I can show you how the greenway is right behind my house over here. And you know, so here we are. All right, I'm going to show you this. Okay, I'm bragging now. Okay, I'm bragging. So there we are. So there's the Neuse River Greenway, and there that little dot is where my house is. So the kids just love it. And out there, if you go to the parking lot, you can actually get into the Neuse River. It's coming right out of the bottom of the dam. So that's where we get our drinking water. So it's very clean up there. And there's a lot of rocks down there so the kids can play if you want to put them in the water. And there's lots of life and, you know, wildlife and rocks to climb on. So, you know, wear them out, get them some ice cream. Good day.
I love that. Well, I think this next question, it maybe ties into maybe some of the technology elements that are available. And I've seen variations of this question mentioned through chat, but if somebody wants to suggest trails, connection opportunities, tying business parks into greenways, what's the best option for them to communicate those wishes or those suggestions to either Wake County or, you know, it looks like we have audience from all over the place. So kind of throughout the triangle, if you can recommend that.
All right, say that again, Paul. I didn't catch that first part. I was reading the chat. So apologize.
Yeah, fantastic chat conversation going on here. So mainly, where would you suggest people go to submit suggestions for ideas, trails, how to make connections to business parks and corridors?
All right, so this is a great question, actually. So first, you know, everything happens at the elected leader table, okay? So you have to start enrolling your elected leaders. Now, through the Triangle Trails Initiative, you know, we've got 14 counties, and that's at the county level. But a lot of our elected leaders are not aware of the power they have through our Metropolitan Planning Organization, known as our MPO. And our MPO is known as CAMPO, which is the Capital Area Metropolitan Planning Organization, of which I'm chair of that organization. There is planning money at CAMPO because, you know, one of the things that I learned early on is that whereas greenways tend to be a park function, the real money is in transportation. That toll road, the I-540 toll road, is $100 million a mile. So at $100 million a mile, a greenway is just a rounding error. And when you think about, you know, $100 million a mile, there are billions of dollars that flow through transportation, some of which is set aside for planning. So if one of the executive members of my CAMPO group were to ask staff for planning money, there's a strong possibility that they could plan out a greenway corridor. Like this would be good for that Fuquay, Holly Springs, Apex, like what we've done in Knightdale. You know, when I talk to groups, Paul, many people say, well, how do you get the money to do all of this work? And I always like to answer that question by saying, I never worry about the money. You know, money always follows vision and not the other way around. If there's one thing that you walk away with from today, is this: money always follows vision. So you have to have the vision, you have to have a plan. And then once you get a plan, ultimately people will figure out how to do it. As Mr. Dale Carnegie said, paint a picture of what people want and they will move heaven and earth to get it. So start with a vision, start with a plan. And in terms of planning money, you can always go to your municipality, but there is transportation money that works very, very well to do that. And if your town or city or county does not have a trail or greenways plan, which can also include an open space plan, you need one of those. So that's a question you also need to be asking. Is, you know, what is our, do we have a trails plan? Do we have a greenway plan? If they say no, so well, you think we need one? And how, can I help you with that? And can I raise some money around it? So, you know, and befriend these elected leaders because they're the ones who are going to help you get this stuff done.
All right, I think I'm back. I had a little bit of glitch with my electricity that knocked my internet out, but I got back in time just to wrap things up because we are in the last 5 minutes of this Mission Impossible Triangle Trails session, and just wanted to let people know that we are asking them, we've got a survey for them to complete, and we're going to put that in the chat. But the survey is anonymous, but we encourage you to share your contact information because you'll get a chance to win a bike goodie bag. The drawing is going to happen on May 1st, or I'm sorry, May 3rd, and on Monday, which is this next coming Monday. So, take it sooner rather than later. So you get those chances in. And I believe Paul is going to talk to you a little about our next webinar.
Yeah, that's perfect. Thank you, Brandy. I appreciate that. So that link should be in chat. You can grab it from the screen here. So yeah, definitely complete that survey as soon as possible. The next item we wanted to make sure everyone knew about today, it is our next upcoming webinar. It's on May 6th at 2 p.m. Let me post the link to RSVP in chat as well. So you're gonna have a lot of links coming your way. Make sure you click on all of them. Make sure you RSVP for this. This is very exciting for us. We're really excited to have a diverse group of presenters. We're going to be talking about the different types of bikes that you have. This is in the webinar is going to be called Find the Right Bike for You. So if you're a new bike owner, looking to be a new bike owner, maybe you're looking to learn more about the different bike choices that are out there. We're going to cover a lot of information about the different types of bikes. We're going to touch upon safety. We're going to touch upon where to buy, because even that can be a little bit overwhelming. And as Sig had alluded to, getting bikes, depending on the types of bikes, it can be a little bit of a challenge right now. There's a heavy demand. So finding that right bike for you, where to get that, the safety elements of all of this, very important for us. And we want to make sure that you have information about that. So be sure to join us there. It should be fantastic. And then lastly, wanted to thank everybody for joining us today. There was a lot of chat conversation that we wanted to follow up with. So we're going to make sure that we capture all that information. There's a lot of resources when it comes to talking about cycling, the Triangle Trails for everyone. It's a very expansive area, and there's a lot of politics. There's a lot of moving parts to make all of this happen, and we really appreciate when somebody like Sig can come in. He's a very busy man, so we appreciate Sig taking the time to educate us and give us a bit of information from his perspective. Absolutely fantastic to get your point of view, Sig. So we can't thank you enough. We have contact information that is listed here. We will also, to reiterate, this session was recorded, so we will make sure to share that recording on the gotriangle.org/MI page as soon as we can. Based off, I think, a lot of the chat comments, we want to make sure that we also have some responses put together, or at least some tools that you can use to help maybe communicate concerns or find more information. So again, there's a lot of resources out there. We want to make sure everyone has access to that. So we're going to try our best to put that together as quickly as possible and get all that information posted. And then lastly, we have a lot of webinars. We love webinars over here in the Go Triangle world and in this space. So we also have another Mission Impossible series coming up, going to be on the hybrid workplace. So that's a big topic right now. We see it a lot in the news, and people and businesses and organizations trying to figure out that hybrid workplace solution. So we're in the middle of planning efforts for that. Looks to be very exciting, very informative as well. I believe we're aiming for early June. That's the goal, at least, but we will make sure that everyone has access to that. We're going to promote that and make sure everyone can join us then. So again, stay in touch with us. We'll stay in touch with you. And thank you so much for your time today. Big thank you to Sig and Brandy. Fantastic to have y'all helping us out today.